Welcome everybody. So I'm here at Interspeech 2021 and this is a hybrid conference. So we're really on a conference venue and there's approximately 380 people here and 1,800 people online. And I would like to introduce you to Seung-hee Kathy Yang, who will accompany me on this conference video.
Hello, and thank you very much for your nice introduction. My name is Seung-hee Yang. You can call me Kathy. So today, yes, we are in Brno, and it's the first day of Interspeech. Just to shortly introduce myself, I have been working with speech recognition synthesis and conversion for the past 6 years, and I received my PhD degree last year and joined FAU. In the Department of Artificial Intelligence for Biomedical Engineering, IBE department. I started the position in May as a junior professor, and I think this is like my 6th Interspeech or something like that. And I just feel very happy to be back, and stay tuned.
Absolutely. So let's see what we can find here on Interspeech, and I'm very much looking forward to checking out the great science here. Yeah, so you can see we're here on a real conference. It has buffet, cake, coffee, so you can really get fresh coffee, cappuccino, everything you like, just in case you forgot how real conferences are supposed to be.
And you can get a glimpse here. So, fruits and desserts and a real coffee machine. And you can get real food and real coffee with real people in Interspeech 2021.
Yeah, so you can see it's not just real cake and real coffee, but there's also real people. So it's a great pleasure to have Luis and Bosch here. So, Luis, how are you feeling?
I'm feeling very well. It's a pleasure to be at Interspeech in person. It is nicer than being online, I guess. Although being online is maybe equally present, but I like the physical presence of people, and I like to see the people. So that is an add-on to the conference.
So you're running to the next session already. So what's the next session about? What are you going to do?
That is about perception. So in Nijmegen we are trying to use ASR to investigate the properties of the speech signal and to investigate how the ASR can explain human perception, especially concerning what now happens in your head, and you are looking for words that I'm speaking right now.
Cool.
So you, 3 times a second, your brain is trying to get words from your English lexicon. And so that is a pretty interesting task, and many details are still not understood. So we are trying to investigate how people do it. And we use ASR to help us in explaining the procedures, the cognition.
And if you're interested in more about this, I'll put a couple of references to the work that was just mentioned in the description of this video, such that you can also check out the science.
Sure. Thank you.
Stay tuned.
Bye-bye.
So the first day of Interspeech is already over. We saw many more exciting talks and many more exciting science. So we would like to take 1 or 2 minutes now to essentially discuss our highlights of the conference. All of what we are mentioning is available in the online conference system, so if you log in, you can still view the recordings of those talks. So what did you like best?
One of the best. It would be really hard to say what is really the best because it was excellent. I attended so many talks. But I would also really love to highlight the survey talk by Heidy Christiansen. And the survey talk was titled Towards Automatic Speech Recognition for People with Atypical Speech. So I was really impressed with the overview of the started speech that she would give at the beginning, and also I could really relate to this topic because I am working on the related projects with biomedical engineering, And also I was working with this speech modification that she was talking about. So for example, with generative adversarial networks, that can really help with the speech recognition of the disauthored speech. And I had a couple of papers regarding that. So I can talk more, but we have a session planned with Heidy. So I think we can go a bit more in depth regarding this one.
So we actually asked her also to give an invited talk at our lab, and if you don't have access to the Interspeech, then very soon we will have her also as an online virtual talk, and we will also record it and try to make it available. So it's a really cool talk.
Yes.
Anything else you want to mention?
Oh yes, so I went to the perception session in the afternoon after the lunch, and it was so there was this very impressive talk by Louis, and then there were actually 3 series of presentations by him. It was totally impressive. So there was it began with the Diana network that was trying to model the human word comprehension. It's so basically, I mean, he himself gave the overview already, so I can you can go back if you're interested, and it's about the activation and decision and execution model for the word comprehension. And there were very interesting Q&A session also about if it can also model human prosody, which was really mind-boggling. And then there were other time to event models for analyzing reaction time sequences, and models of reduction time in auditory and lexical decision with the RT onset and RT offset. So this is really like a talk that you want to listen to, I think.
I mean, we've just seen Louis here, and he gave already a very good summary of what he's presenting about. But still, that he had like 3 talks in succession, and they were all amazing. So if you have some time, I definitely recommend to have a look at the speech perception session.
Yes. So what I really liked about this session was, I mean, it's besides the technological or technical aspects, you're really trying to get into you understand how speech recognition works in the brain, and that's which is really scientifically interesting. And this leads to another talk that you can talk about with the EEG signals.
Absolutely. There was also a very exciting talk in the same session that was given by Mohammad, Jalilpour, Monesi. And he was interested in extracting different levels of speech information from EEG, and he's using an LSTM-based model. So essentially, the question that he's been looking at is whether you can classify, based on the EEG recording, which word has just been uttered. And so at the same time, they're listening to words, and he's classifying whether this is the correct correspondence. So this is nice, and I think it could be a really valuable tool to build new intelligibility tests. So, for example, you could use that in order to see whether the processing in the brain is somehow affected if you play back. And it can be done without the support of the person, because you just need to set up essentially the EEGs, and then you play back the respective stimuli, and you can check whether there is something wrong with the processing. And maybe also these techniques will give us a better understanding of the human brain and the speech processing in the human brain. So that was exciting. I must admit that I also liked a lot the keynote by Hermann Ney.
Of course.
So he had this wonderful summary of 40 years of speech and language processing, and it was really nice to see how he put all of this in context and went down essentially to Bayes' decision rule, and could then also link all the modern concepts that we now see in deep learning and so on that they essentially still relate to the classical theory,
Like
and yeah, so the HMMs, the deep learning, and how you relate all of this in a statistical modeling sense. So that was really nice. It was a bit mathy, but I must admit I really liked the presentation.
Yes.
So if you have time to see that, it's also something that I can definitely recommend. What I found really cool was also the session on representation learning.
Oh, yes.
So there were
we
different.
cannot miss this one.
Yeah, there was representation, and I particularly liked the presentation by Jalilpour. So it was entitled "Leveraging Speaker Attribute Information Using Multitask Learning for Speaker Verification and Diarization." And he had this very nice idea that you would not just build the standard embeddings, but you would adjust the embedding in a way that it would also represent different properties of the speakers, like gender, age, and all the other properties that we know about those speakers, and put this into a multitask learning context. So it's not just the embedding that is learned for general verification and diarization, but also representing these different properties. So I thought that's a really cool idea.
Yeah, it was
So,
really creative. I have not seen such work so far,
so if you have time, then have a look at his presentation.
Yes.
It's cool.
definitely.
And he already uploaded the paper to archive. So I'll also put the link into the description of this video. I'll also put all the titles and so on in the description of the video, such that you can check out the conference platform.
Yeah.
Another thing that I totally enjoyed was a presentation by Rob van Zoon, and it was entitled "Measuring Voice
Oh,
Quality
yes.
Parameters After Speaker Pseudonymization." And you know, we work a lot in medical and also medical speech processing and pathology, and their data scarcity is a huge issue. And of course, you would like to share that data, but there's huge ethical constraints to sharing that. So Rob was looking into pseudonymization for this purpose. There's actually already been challenges that have been going on in this direction, how this can be done. But he was not just interested in the pseudonymization itself and whether the persons can be re-identified, and obviously the pseudonymization works, so you can make the voice sound like a different voice such that you wouldn't be able to recognize the person again. But the question that he was asking is whether this has any implications on the voice quality parameters that are then extracted from such a pseudonymized voice. And I can already tell you that the results are very interesting. So most of the voice quality was preserved after the pseudonymization. So that's actually a quite nice result. So we can also essentially pseudonymize the voice. So you don't recognize the speaker again, but you can still extract the pathological parameters. There are a couple of caveats that you can also see in the presentation. It's very well outlined, and he is discussing all of that. And I thought it was a very important research to look into the voice quality parameters and how different levels of voice quality can interact with the pseudonymization. So that was super cool, and these were essentially my highlights. But of course, there were also more highlights, right?
Yes, of course. So there was, of course, this Interspeech, I think, always comes with very nice music. It started off with the opening ceremony. And so there was some this violin and piano duet, and yes, it was really, really lovely to listen to it live.
Yeah, live music.
Yes.
So I think it was a great choice that they really went for this hybrid event, that you can
Yes.
see people again. So they actually had to award essentially 2 years of awards, because last year was online only. So there was a very long list of ISCA fellows and then the different awards that have been
Yes.
named there, because they couldn't hand them over in present.
Of course,
So
yeah. So
that
they
was
still
nice.
have the medals, and and I look forward to maybe next year it will be like really
Unfortunately,
Yeah.
still some people couldn't attend the
Yeah.
award ceremony.
Yes.
So even they had problems that they couldn't produce new ISCA medals anymore, because the
Yeah.
company that is manufacturing the medals itself went out of business. But even this problem could be solved. So that was quite a few things that were mentioned there in this
Yes.
opening ceremony.
Yes. So we're making the progress. I
Yeah.
think, really.
Yeah. What did you think about the dinner? and the food here in the conference.
Oh yes, we were talking about the food, and the catering is excellent here, which is actually it's constantly changing the variety of the food, and it's really nice.
Absolutely, and then there was this wonderful welcome reception with meeting all your friends and colleagues and so on. It was really great.
I was really pleasantly surprised to talk to some of the people.
Absolutely.
I did not know who was coming, but I had some anticipation, and it's really nice.
So we tried to ask some people for interviews, so maybe we can show that in the second video on day 2. And this already concludes our day 1 summary of Interspeech 2021.
Yes.
So I hope you like the summary. If you like it, share it, and maybe you can have a chance to listen to some of these presentations in the online video system. So thank you very much for watching, and see you with the day 2 summary, hopefully tomorrow. Bye bye.